Alright, I've been working a bit on the mercury lamp. This is the progress. It's up there and it's working as well. Looking quite good, I would say. It's not perfect, it's never going to be perfect, but that's pretty good, I think. So what I did was I take off my shoes here so I can walk in my sofa here. I put it on the standoffs like I discussed in last night's video, and mounted it on this plate. You can see the nuts there, maybe. See, can we zoom in? Yeah. And yeah, it's wired in with a shock block there. I got the ground attached directly to the chassis of the unit. I decided to leave that old capacitor in there because there's nothing wrong with it, so I just leave that be. And we got the dish, and I just took some washers, otherwise the screw heads will fall right through because they designed it that way, because you're supposed to put that on, but I didn't want that because that would direct the light too much in this way, and I want it to spread evenly across the whole room. And of course this is running on the 80-watt tap, so we don't have a lot of power going to the bulb at all, which is good. This is a 125 bulb, so running it on 80 watts is going to make it last more or less forever. It already has a rated lifespan of 24,000 hours at full power, so this thing is gonna outlast me easily. Yeah, we get about 3000 lumens running it on 80 watts and 5000 if you were to run it at 125. But yeah, 80 watts is pretty good. It's more than good enough for in here. So yeah, I'm waiting for the night to try this out properly. And over here in this end, here's that wire. You can't see it because it's on top of the beam there. You see it goes here. And we no longer have the ballasts and stuff here, of course. So now we're running direct power from the lighting circuit here. So there's the feed wire going there, and there's the switch wire, and then we have the output wire directly over there. So we got 230 volts directly on there from our power inverter here, of course, which is feeding in here. As you can see, I've got the inverter on right now. You can see the voltmeter there in the middle. It's putting out 220 volts. And we actually got a load here. We've got a phone charger going, charging my beloved cell phone with custom ROM that I put together many years ago. But yeah, I'm very glad that I decided to mount it here instead of putting it over there or over there, because if I put it here it's just never gonna be right. So mounting it here is the best position, because now it's gonna provide uniform light throughout the whole house here. It's gonna be pretty good. And yeah, so that's that. And here are the ballasts I took down from the old setup. So let's see how much wattage this was. 65, 58 to 65. So this was about 130 watts of ballasting. So it was pretty close. Although and here is the capacitor that was with these to give them some phase compensation. They usually say right on them what value you need. So here you can see 5.3 and 5.3, so 10 was pretty good. So yeah, this is that capacitor, and the lamp right now uses a 10 as well. So if that capacitor does go bad, I can simply put this one in there and it will work. This one is a lot newer. This one's from 95. The one in there is from 88, so that one's a bit older, but it's still good, so I'm just gonna leave that one alone. And I see no reason to change it since it's well within tolerance. But yeah, this one seems a little bit leaky actually, so I don't know. I think the one that's up there is gonna do fine. So yeah, there we go. That's the parts from the old DIY setup, and here's the lamp. This thing, really cool. And what I could do is take this and put it up here or something, but the problem is it's going to be blinding me all the time, so I think I'm just gonna keep that as a cool item. Otherwise we could put that up here. We could put a second light switch somewhere here, and because there's plenty of space in that box, so I could actually. And one thing I've been thinking about doing is tapping into that and taking a power outlet over here. We have this one here, but I could really use another one. And I've also been thinking about installing a second switch over there, but I don't have the proper wire type for that, because you need 4 conductors in order to do that. That one is being cut for some reason. I can't remember why. But yeah, old setup is out. And the new setup is in. Let's flip it on and have a look at it. Obviously it's not all that dark right now, so there you go. Ignites beautifully, and it's messing with the camera refresh rate of course, but yeah, tonight we'll give it a proper test. I also took some time and cleaned off this power wall thing. So we got just the charge controller here now. These meters, they were not accurate enough. They were just all over the place. I don't understand why. Maybe there's something wrong with these, or maybe I did something wrong, but either way they showed current draw even though there wasn't current draw, so it messed up my results, so not very usable, unfortunately. So yeah, now we have an unused space here, which is sitting here and looking pretty next to the good old distribution board here, which pretty much breaks all the electrical rules. But since it's off the grid, it doesn't really matter actually, since yeah, off-grid powered stuff doesn't need to really comply with any real regulations. But yeah, and the batteries are looking pretty good. And I had a look at the electrolyte level earlier and all seems good. So these batteries, they seem pretty happy. But yeah, there is now a lot of blank space here which I could use for whatever, and you can see how many things have been screwed into these boards over the years. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, now it's just the charge controller. Okay, here we are. It's evening. It's 9:30. Let's go flip the inverter on here. There we go. And here we go. Nice. So now we're gonna let that warm up for a bit. And we are going to... I'm adjusting the exposure on the camera so we don't get as much flickering. And then we're going to see how well it lights. So yeah, you can see the color of it right now. It's pretty cold white as it warms up. It starts out pinkish, but now it's warming up. So I'll put the camera back at 0. And we are simply gonna let it warm up for a few minutes. And we'll see how it does. So yeah, I put the panel back together again. So that's looking a bit more normal right now. And here's a little charge controller thing. I'm just kind of showing things while I'm talking. Here we have some project which I haven't done much to. I need to solder this back on here. So that's something that needs doing. That's a shortwave radio receiver, by the way, without a case, but that doesn't really matter. I just want to make it work again so I can listen to shortwave out here. Here's a modified power supply. This one runs on about 16 volts and it doesn't have a power transformer in it anymore. You simply feed it with 16 volts directly and it works. Yeah, it's about halfway warmed up right now, so it's not super bright yet, but it's coming. Yeah, let's enjoy this beautiful piece of technology here. Quite excited to see how the light pattern is. That white thing should act as a sort of reflector, but I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference, to be honest. Yeah, warming up slowly but surely. So I'll cut the video until it's fully warmed up. There we go. The lamp is now almost fully warmed up. It takes about 5 minutes or so. I'm gonna make sure the compensation on the camera is at 0, and it is now. And this gives a pretty accurate representation of how bright it actually is in here. And yeah, it's pretty damn good. It's very good, in fact. And yeah, this is quite good, and this is running at only 80 watts. And the lamp is a 125 watts, so this should make it last more or less forever. It has a 24,000 hour lifespan rating at full power, so running it at 80 watts should really, you know, since it's a 125 watt bulb, running it on 80 watts, that's like running it at 70% of maximum power. So yeah, it's gonna last forever. It's gonna last longer than I'm gonna be alive. But yeah, look at this. Really, really bright in here. You can see everything. Like, you can even see things down at the floor here in the corner. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, this is really, really good. And I'm running it at 50 Hertz from the power inverter. That's why it's flickering on the camera, because the camera is 30 frames per second. But yeah, there we go. It's pretty good, or what do you say? And the light is a ordinary, it's almost warm white. But yeah, it's The color is pretty good actually, and yeah, it's a pretty good color if you ask me. It's a color corrected one, this lamp, so yeah, it has pretty good color. Yeah, quite impressed. You can see everything. You can even see fairly well over here. This is more than bright enough for me to solder and stuff here without an extra light. In fact, I can see these joints, and I'm holding it like, I don't know, 30 centimeters from my eyes right now, and I can easily see the solder joints. I can easily work on soldering and stuff like that out here, no problem. It's kind of interesting. This cable looks like it's glowing. Interesting. Cell phone is alive. I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, you can see for yourself it's pretty damn good. And the camera is making the light a little bit more warm than it actually is, but it's a pretty good representation of the brightness right now. It's almost perfect, I would say. Yeah. No problem working or reading or anything in here. I'm quite happy with this, and it looks pretty good now when I've made this fixture happen. Fairly happy with it. Let's remove that flicker here. And it hums a little bit, of course, since it's screwed directly into the roof. The vibration from the ballast transfers into the whole building, so it hums a little bit, but that's just comforting, honestly. Yeah, this is pretty good. I'm quite happy with this, and it's gonna be an incredibly long-lasting light source as well. So yeah, that concludes the little test. I need to go to bed because I've got things tomorrow. But yeah, I'm happy I could do a little test of the lamp, and I am very satisfied with that. And now I want to show you something here. It's not gonna reignite now if we try. As you can see, not reigniting because there is a bimetallic thing in there which prevents reignition when it's warm. You gotta let it cool off for a few moments before you can reignite it. But yeah, it's working, and the installation is looking pretty good as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm not quite sure what that's gonna be yet. Probably vacuum tube amplifiers. I'm working on building a stereo push-pull amp. I got some parts in for that the other day, and I'm going to build it point to point. It included a circuit board, but circuit boards, they just don't work out very well together with vacuum tubes, so we're not gonna build using that. We are going to build it point to point. I'm getting a bit sleepy as well. I've had a long day. Installing this mercury lamp took about half the day, but it turned out really good, so I'm quite satisfied with that. I'm so glad I mounted it here and not over there or here, because that would have been absolutely silly. This gives perfect light throughout the whole house here in the middle, and it is out of the way. You're not gonna hit your head on it or anything like that, which is also a good thing. Like, my head level is here and the lamp is at least 40 centimeters above my head, so there's no risk of me breaking the bulb, which is very good, of course. And yeah,